What's up guys, Just Know right here. Today I'm gonna show you how to create a custom-made firmware on iOS 10 beta 1 with a setup.app patch that I created just it with emojis and whether these methods are effective for the iCloud bypass. And since there are a lot of you in here on this channel who are interested in the iCloud bypass, I'm going to try to explain it better as I can. So let's just jump into it. Now I'm going to start by recommending you to read this page in here on the iPhone wiki called the Application Setup app. It's going to tell you some of the information that you need to know about the Setup app. And this is the infamous activation screen. But what you need to know about the Setup app is that it doesn't only contain this activation screen. The Setup app itself is basically used by iOS for various other tasks, for example, for language selection, for country selection, for Wi-Fi network selection, for the activation of the device, which is the screen that you have in here, and then for configuring the Siri, Touch ID, backups, Apple account, and a lot of other things like, terms and conditions and many other things. So it's not only used for this. This is the reason why when you're creating a custom-made firmware, for example, let's say you have an exploit, because an exploit is required for restoring the custom-made firmware, but let's say you have an exploit if you create a custom-made firmware with patched or modified or removed setup app, it's going to also create some problems, because once the device is being restored with such file, it's not going to have this screen anymore, but it's not also have the configurations that are made after the screen. For example, getting the carrier bundles so that a SIM card would work, getting an activation ticket, again, for the carrier network to operate on the device, and it's not going to have a lot of configurations. So you're going to still have a device that is looking for an activation in the background, and this is something you need to know about the Setup app and of course iCloud bypass using it. Is stuffing the Setup app with a lot of emojis and pressing, a lot of times the emoji keys randomly to generate a long string. Then it copies and pastes it in the same text field, for example the Wi-Fi network or the DNS section and so on. Well, that does work, and all these videos you see right now on the screen are working indeed, but the problem is that it's only giving you 1 second of springboard or 2. Now on iOS 11 on the betas there has been discovered a new bug. I think Everything Apple Pro has posted about this a couple days ago, even Billy Ellis, that actually lets you to get into a couple features on the iOS 11 by pressing on the corners of the device on the iPhone. So with the voiceover on, and you get to crash it for a couple of seconds so that you can open an application. But normally you are not able to open any application even if you crash it. For example, on the iOS 10.3.2, if you manage to somehow input a lot of emojis in the Apple ID field in here, and you make the application to crash because you exhausted all the memory, it's only going to crash for a couple seconds, like 2 seconds or 1 second, and then it's going to come back, and that is how the application works. It's not going to even let you, press any application. I think a lot of you come across this video every day, videos like these in here showing you how to crash it with emojis, and you probably ever tried to press one of the applications while they were shown. The springboard that is being shown after you crash the Setup app looks like this. Well, this is from the iOS 9, but you get the idea. And I'm pretty sure some of you tried to press on the applications before the Setup app started again. And you probably saw that it doesn't start any applications. Why is that? Well, I put together a small article in here on my website. There you can read about the setup app itself. It comes with a little bit more info than the iPhone Wiki article that I actually made myself. And the problem here is that once you have the setup app open on the screen and showing you any of its pages, it's not going to let you do anything. Springboard, the one with the applications, gets locked. There is actually a daemon called lockdown-d, which contains actually a method or a couple methods that will periodically check for a file called com.apple.purplebody.plist, which is actually this one here. And this file contains a couple of configurations for the setup app. And once you're going through these buttons back and forth, and you set various things, for example, the language or the Apple ID and stuff like that, somewhere in this file it is saved the fact that you have gone through that page and set up everything. Once you set up completely the device and you reach to the final screen where it says get started, and when you press that you get to the springboard, inside this file called com.apple.purplebody.plist is going to be saved the fact that you completed the setup screen, the setup tutorial. So this is not going to show up anymore. The lockdown daemon is going to check out for that, for this setup done, and it is going to check whether it's true, and for setup finished all steps, again, whether it's true or false. If it's false, it's going to show you the setup.app again, and this is the reason you cannot make it simply quit if you crash it. And if it's true, it's not going to show it again because the setup is finished. Another thing that is being checked by lockdown-d are the activation tickets, and the activation tickets are being downloaded from the Apple server, are being generated there once you sign in, or if you're not required to sign in, once you reach to the activation part. So, okay, we understand how it works. How can we kill it then? Well, stuffing a lot of emojis into a simple place does kill it. And the reason it does that is because it consumes a lot of memory to copy and paste that long string of emojis that are generated. But these methods are usually basically useless because they are not giving you any kind of advantage. It's just showing you the springboard for a second and then makes the setup app pop again. And the reason it does that, we explained, there is that daemon that checks for the setup app configuration file, and once that file is not containing what that daemon wants, and that is the setup being finished, it's going to show it up again until you finish it. And you cannot finish it because you are on the activation screen and you do not know the username and the password. So that's it. But what about the custom-made firmwares? Well, in order to create and restore a custom-made firmware, you do need an exploit. And therefore, this is the such videos anymore. When I'm going to make these videos again? Well, when an exploit will be out. And I have no idea whether an exploit will be released by somebody. I know they do exist and they are kept private by developers. And once one will be available, and I think it's going to be available at some point since the iOS 11 doesn't support iPhone 5 and 5C, so at least for 32-bit devices, we're probably going to see such thing in the future, I do not know. But once that will be available, I'm going to continue making the custom-made farmer things. In the custom-made farmer things, you're removing the setup app completely, or you patch it so that it doesn't work, it doesn't start. But again, custom-made farmer means that you're not going to have service, even if you have an exploit and you manage to restore it, you're not going to have service because the setup screen hasn't been completed and your device doesn't have the activation ticket downloaded by setup app, and therefore you will not be able to use any SIM card on your phone. It's going to become an iPod. And another problem is that if you restore it with a clean firmware, it's going since it's a modification to a firmware and not to the actual server. There is actually no way to modify the servers to make the device unlocked. Only Apple has access to that, and whatever you see on the internet modifying the servers or modifying, fake things that modify the Apple tickets and so on, they're just fake and don't buffer with them. You can't modify Apple servers. Only Apple can do the modifications and only in specific circumstances. For example, by showing them the receipt, which proves the fact that you bought the iPhone and it's not stolen. So it's pretty hard to do that. Everything you can do is to bypass it, locally on the hardware itself, on the device itself, by using the custom-made firmware on the iPhone 4 and lower with the Limerick exploit, or on newer devices like iPhone 6, 5, and so on. You need to wait for an exploit in order to do that, which is not available for the moment. The other thing is these emoji things that you can, but it's not going to give you many advantages. It's just going to show you the springboard for a couple seconds. You can profit on the new thing on the iOS 11, that bug, but it's going to get patched. So if you want to do it now. You might be able to find the email of the previous owner if the device hasn't been restored. But anyways, this is how the Cello app works. Once it starts, it locks everything up and waits for it to be completed. If it's not completed, you're not going to get anything. You're not going to pass it up. Even if you manage to crash it by emojis or by, there is also a method by pressing these back and next buttons at the same time, multiple times. It results in a crash at some point on some older versions like iOS 10 and iOS 9 and so on. So yeah, but this is the same thing as the emojis itself. It's not going to give you too much. It's going to only give you a couple seconds of springboard, in which you can't really do much of a thing. So what is the conclusion here? Well, the conclusion is that when you're coming across videos like, set up app emoji crashes, don't simply buffer with them. They are okay, they're legit, but they're only going to give you a couple seconds of springboard, which isn't going to bring any advantages. Unless it's the bug from the iOS 11, which does bring you the opportunity to open some apps, but it's still not a full bypass. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that if you want to create a custom-made firmware for an iPhone 5 or newer right now, it's possible, but you will not be able to restore it since you need an exploit. Once an exploit is going to be available, I'm going to, of course, tell you in a video. I'm going to make the tutorial, so just keep that in mind. I would definitely recommend you to read through this page. I explain a lot in here about the tickets, about why you do not have service after you bypass with custom-made firmware or by anyways invalidating the cellular app or crashing it. And yeah, it's definitely something interesting for you to read if you want. But why there aren't any cellular app patches anymore, you ask me sometimes. Well, due to the same reason. Since an exploit is not available, if I create a patches, people will try them, and if they try them, they're going to see it's not going to work because they need a mode for you to be able to see that it's locked. Alrighty. So you can definitely see it's locked on c.@gmail.com, and if you click continue, it will show incorrect Apple ID and password. And I'm going to put it now in recovery mode. Alright, now that I put it in recovery mode, I can copy out the serial number, and I'm going to go ahead in here, paste it on the activation lock status, and write the captcha. V worth. And as you can see, it says activation lock, it's on. Therefore, we know now that this device is definitely locked. Now keep in mind, just because I'm using an iPhone 5 in this video for the demonstration purposes, doesn't mean that it doesn't work for iPhone 5C, 5S, 6 and so on. And it's definitely the same procedure as in this video where I used an iPhone 6, for example. So you can definitely check this video out